This is where the fun begins.
There's one. Set for stun.
The Lord Be With You podcast show, also known as Christian Fandom Geek on YouTube, is a Red 5 show, also affiliated with Fandom Collective. So, enjoy the show, and the Force will be with you very soon on the Lord Be With You podcast show. Welcome to the Lord Be With You podcast show, also known as Christian Fandom Geek on YouTube, the best stories of our age from a Christian point of view. I hope you're doing well and keeping safe in the times that we are living in. This episode is going to be a recommendation episode for you guys at home or wherever you listen to the show. There's a lot of great shows out there that in my world of doing podcast episodes and YouTube episodes, I come across these channels on Twitter and in the internet world. And some of these shows are amazing. And also the folks that are running the shows are really friendly and down to earth. And so I'm engaging with them and I want to recommend them to you. First of all, I'm thinking of a show that I've engaged with before called Most Things Kenobi. Now, I'm thinking they should be called All Things Kenobi, but they are called Most Things Kenobi. They are the space twins, Leanne and Lauren. They have a show that is passionately focused on Obi-Wan Kenobi, who is a fabulous character in Star Wars and in the films and in the animated shows as well. They love Obi-Wan Kenobi. They are passionate about Obi-Wan, even to the degree of talking about Obi-Wan's hair and critiquing his physical appearance. Every facet of Obi-Wan Kenobi is critiqued, is deconstructed, and put back together again lovingly by the space twins. Every counterfactual situation, every multiverse situation, every what-if situation is considered with Obi-Wan Kenobi. Every life choice that could be made for Obi-Wan is made and scrutinized by Leanne and Lauren. And if you love Obi-Wan Kenobi, this is the show for you. The other thing I want to say about Leanne and Lauren, especially Lauren, is very much she has a thing with Anakin Skywalker and talks about Anakin as a soul that was let down by the Jedi Order with their rigid sort of ways. And they made me think about this because Leanne and Lauren talk a lot about Obi-Wan Kenobi and talk a lot about Anakin Skywalker. But Lauren's love for Anakin is also strong. And I think Leanne will agree with me on this. The way that she talks about Anakin, and because this is the thing, they really made me think about Anakin, because was Anakin Skywalker let down by the Jedi Order? So let me go into this. Was Anakin Skywalker let down by Yoda? Did Yoda let Anakin down? Did their sort of dogmatic style of leadership, where they were so rigid in their laws, for the Jedi Order, how they conducted themselves, how they went about their business as being peacekeepers in the galaxy, did they? Because I think that what happened with Anakin Skywalker is the Jedi started to objectify Anakin as the chosen one and as a great warrior and soldier in the galaxy. He obviously had the highest midichlorian count. He was the chosen one, the most out of all of them, that was the most sensitive to the Force, extremely gifted, talented, formidable Jedi. So I believe they started to objectify him as their sort of blunt object that was winning the war for them against the Separatists and against Count Dooku and etc. And so when they did that, when they started to view Anakin in that way, they neglected Anakin as a person, as a soul who needed support and nurturing. They focused on the one area and neglected the other, to the detriment of both Anakin and the Jedi Order itself. And I think Leanne and Lauren, but especially Lauren, you will agree with me on that as well. Now it's really interesting because when you look at someone like Palpatine, who obviously is the villain, is the main villain of Star Wars. In his relationship with Anakin, Palpatine is almost the same as the Jedi. He wants to use Anakin. Now, obviously, I don't think the Jedi are deliberately wanting to use Anakin in a devious sort of way. I don't think they're like that. I think they are genuinely wanting the best for Anakin, but they are nonetheless using him as the chosen one. I think Palpatine is kind of similar in a way, in the sense he also has an agenda for Anakin as well. But Palpatine is more crafty than Yoda, in the sense, in this way. Palpatine befriends Anakin and focuses on Anakin as a person. And he focuses on Anakin as a person rather than Anakin as a warrior. So Palpatine befriends Anakin. He comes to him as a mate, as a friend, as a mentor, as a coach, but more from a philosophical point of view. He teaches him, he comes to him as a father figure, teaching him, this is how you think about people with power. This is how you think about the universe. This is how you think about the Jedi. This is how you think about life. He comes to him as a friend, a father figure, and a mentor. Whereas the Jedi are more distant. They focus more on precepts and canon and law, more like a kind of religious order that has its theology, and this is how you follow the theology of the Jedi. This is how you follow the law of the Jedi. This is how you follow Jedi precepts. This is how you follow this sort. It's almost like a priesthood in that sort of way, and so, of course, Palpatine's closer to them than really, certainly, than Yoda would be to Anakin. Just a few thoughts there, inspired by Most Things Kenobi. A great show. And once again, guys, get on their show. They're really funny. They're really lively. Their friendship as the Space Twins really shines through on their show. And sometimes they use a bit of French as well when going into how passionate they are about Star Wars. So it is entertaining as well, especially if you like a bit of adult language and you like a bit of French in there as well on your podcast. Another show to be mentioned as well is the boys, my friends at Detention Block AA23. If you're on that show, you go there as a prisoner because you're going into the detention block where you are their prisoner and they will talk to you about Star Wars. So actually, they're really nice. They're a really nice prison because they just talk to you about Star Wars. They don't do anything else to you. And they are very knowledgeable. Now, the thing about these guys here, which I want to ask you guys actually at Detention Block AA23. You got the guys there. You got Michael, I think it's Dustin and Greg. Were you guys friends at school? Which I think you might have been. If you were friends at school, if you knew each other when you were at school in the States, were you the geeky kids at school that love Star Wars, and then there's other kids that are more popular that were into like basketball and gridiron? I really want to know that, because I kind of picture you guys like the TV show Friends. That's how I picture you guys. You're the Star Wars equivalent of Friends, and you have your own little group, almost like Tolkien and the Inklings. You have your own little group, and you all got the Luke Skywalker action figure, and you've got the Vader action figure, and you've got the Han Solo action figure, and I don't know if you'd have a Princess Leia. It depends on if you're kind of into Princess Leia as well. I'm guessing if you did have Princess Leia, you had the Princess Leia from the Return of the Jedi, where she was with Jabba. I'm guessing that's the Princess Leia that you had. We're not going to talk about that. Anyway, so I want to know, you guys, were you friends at school? And if you were you those kind of geeky guys that were into Star Wars? Because that's really cool, but you probably wouldn't have had that. You might not have had that much street cred back then, but you probably wouldn't have. Anyway, their show is a lot of fun. Their friendship really shines through on the show as well. I really recommend them. And They are, and what's nice about these, they all have their own little personalities, and obviously would have different personalities because they are different. They're not just one person. So they're they all shine in their own way, which is nice. Dustin is the kind of geeky one that has a lot of exposition, the philosopher of the group. Greg is Greg is kind of the grouchy one a little bit. I think, yeah, it comes across as a slightly grumpier one. He's not really grumpy. He's just pretending to be grumpy. And Michael is the one that kind of, I think, is the glue that holds the Enterprise together. I don't know if being called glue is a very nice compliment, but I think it is in the context of what I'm talking about. So they're a great little show. Couple of other shows to mention. And I have got some more recommendations of shows and Star Wars fans that I will include on a different episode, actually. But I'm not going to, and they're awesome, but I'm not going to go into all of them right now. But there are a few others that's going to be on a video podcast episode that I'm going to mention. Anyway, next one I mention now is my good friend Star Wars Infinite. Really good show. Star Wars Infinite is a nice guy, loves Star Wars, has great production value on his videos, is into the Clone Wars animated shows, goes into the lore, canon and theory, especially in the World Between Worlds episodes with Ahsoka. Great production value once again. He's knowledgeable, he's got a great voice for podcast. Really cool dude, loves Star Wars, very knowledgeable. So I'm highly recommending Star Wars Infinite. If you're into animated shows and if you're into theory, especially sort of what if situations, because he does a lot of what if situations. He talks about counterfactual situations that could happen within Star Wars using the motifs within the animated show. So he talks about what if this happened, what if that happened, how you could switch things around, how you could play things out, almost like multiverse theory, like a many worlds theory of quantum mechanics, which is what if scenarios tend to be. Then, and if you're into that sort of stuff like I am, then you're going to enjoy Star Wars Infinite. Next one I'm going to recommend, a little bit like Star Wars Infinite, is Star Wars Theology. A guy that's into lore, canon, and the philosophy of Star Wars. Main thing that makes him a little bit on another level is that Star Wars Theology, he has a lot of competition and prizes. So he really, I don't know where he's getting all his money from. I'm thinking Kathleen Kennedy sorting him out somewhere with a bit of money on the side, because he's getting money from somewhere, because all the time he's on Twitter with a new competition, giving away all these action figures for Star Wars, which and they're not cheap. They're quite expensive. So he's getting some extra money from somewhere. Show him some love, because he's a guy a young guy who's building his channel up on YouTube, and he's got a YouTube channel, and he's a very, very positive channel, again, like Star Wars Infinite, very positive, very engaging, very knowledgeable, and really good shows. And so I'll give you a few shows there to recommend. There are other shows out there which I'm going to talk about on a video episode. Anyway, I hope you're all doing well and keeping safe in the times that we are living in. And I'll be with you very soon again on the Lore Be With You podcast show. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Lore Be With You podcast show on Christian Fandom Geek. I really appreciate every one of you who listen to the show via podcast player or on YouTube as Christian Fandom Geek. We're also on the Red 5 network as well. Really appreciate all of you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of this awesome project and enterprise. I've got some great collaborators on the show as well, having some awesome episodes, and we're really glad that you are part of the ride. Keep listening to the show. Also, you can follow the show on Twitter. If you put in the Lore Be With You podcast show or Lore Be With You, it will come up on Twitter as well. So if you want to interact with the show, leave a comment and leave a suggestion for future episodes. Would be really happy to engage with you as fans of the show. Keep safe, and we'll be with you very, very soon on the Lore Be With You podcast show.